Hi, I'm Lee White, National Board Member of APA, and I'm talking with photographer and also National Board Member Michael Grecco. Michael, where are we and what was your presentation about?
So today we're at the Standout Photographic Forums in Los Angeles, California, and I did a presentation called Negotiating the Job. The event was sponsored by APA.
How do you feel about clients who ask for all rights?
So watching this video is important because I know clients ask almost every photographer to get as many rights as possible, and figuring out how to negotiate around that and figuring out how to protect yourself under those circumstances is really important.
You don't like day rates. Why?
The other thing we talk about in this video that's really important is not using this idea of a day rate, using the idea of licensing. And I wrap my time and the usage in together and I call it a creative fee. It's really important to figure out, and I'll tell you why.
Can you tell us about your cover package fee pricing idea?
When I shoot magazine covers, what I try to do is wrap the fee into one inclusive fee with usage and the days involved and everything, so that whether it's used for a cover or not, I'm compensated for the amount of time and effort I've put into shooting that.
You're not an advocate of photographers giving away their images for possible publicity use.
So the other thing we talk about is not working for free. Many clients want to try to get photographers to work for free by telling them that it's going to be good publicity, or it's going to help their career. And really, it's only going to help the client. You shouldn't be working for free.
You feel strongly about negotiations, and there's two aspects you're especially interested in.
The usage and the exclusivity. And by understanding both aspects, you're able to more sophisticatedly negotiate your job.
Thank you, Michael. And now you can see part of Michael's presentation brought to you by APA American Photographic Artists at the Standout event in Los Angeles.
I want to start by talking about something that, there's a business seminar, and I want to talk to you about something that I'm very, very passionate about. This is sponsored by APA, and APA is an organization that I'm on the national board of. As you can see, I'm the Executive Vice President of APA National. We've got our secretary here, Lee White, and for APA LA, Kevin Steele, who's the chairman of the board there. I've been involved with APA, started maybe with APA 20, 25 years ago when I was told I had to get insurance and I had to be a member of APA. And then someone roped me into an LA board meeting, and then I got, I ran for national election. But over the years, I've become more and more involved because of what we do and how we're changing the landscape for all of you. This lecture is part of a very small slice and perspective of what we do for education. But the bigger perspective are some of the advocacy things that I'm about to tell you about. Who's a professional photographer here? Okay, it's most of the room. Who shoots for magazines? So we've been working on, for years, we've been working on things like trying to get photographers paid for reprographic rights. Who knows what reprographic rights are? Okay, do photographers in the United States get paid for reprographic rights? No. Do photographers around the world get paid for reprographic rights? Yes. Is there a company in the United States called the Copyright Clearance Center that collects money for reprographic rights that doesn't pay photographers and writers? Yes. There's a $250 million business in the United States where publishers pay themselves and don't pay the artists that shoot the work. We're also trying to wrap this into legislation and a mechanism to pay people for the foreign monies that are collected so that we have a way to pay artists. And we're trying to wrap in internet usage and get paid through statutory amendment for Google Images, Facebook. We're working on huge, huge advocacy projects that need your support and help. Your support is to become a member. The member benefits so far outweigh the financial amount that you would pay, the $200 or $300 or whatever level you would join. You get discounts for Apple computers, and there's consultations with availability of attorneys, and the events that APA LA puts on are astounding. And what you would get at a membership to help the industry far outweighs anything you can spend. Because ultimately, you probably all want to stay in business. That's why I do this. I want to receive a check for reprints made in England, and eventually I want to receive a check for reprints made in the United States. And eventually I want to receive a check for Google Images. Isn't Google great? They take all of our content and they've made a business on it. They couldn't survive without our content. It's our content that runs things like Google Images. At the same time, no one sees a dime of it. So those are the things that APA has not been a part of, but has spearheaded. And I just want you to go see Sherry out there and join today, please. So, and I have a thing that I try to do with most magazines, that whether it's a cover or not, if I'm shooting it as a cover, I try to get a cover package fee. And for some magazines, that's a flat fee. And for other magazines, it's a flat fee, expenses and everything. And for other magazines, that's a fee for the usage. You know, it's X amount, whether it's used. And I like this because if I'm shooting something as a cover and I'm spending days producing it, and I'm spending time setting this up and figuring it out, and I'm shooting 3 or 4 situations, and I'm thinking as a cover, I don't care whether they use it or not. I want my $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever I charge as a fee. If you use it quarter page, don't care. If it gets killed from the cover, don't care. And I've always tried to maintain that and do that. This was a Hasselblad. Oh, I'm not supposed to mention that company's name. This is an ad campaign from another camera manufacturer a few years ago. I'm going to get killed. Sorry. Martin Scorsese for DirecTV. I came up with this idea of what do photographers need to know, what are the 7 golden rules in business, right? And we're going to work on, you know, how to get more jobs, the techniques. And I'm going to talk in the next half hour, 25 minutes, I'm going to talk about negotiating the job and protecting your work, right? I want to first, you've seen this video, all right. I want to first deal with this notion of what you don't want to do, right? And this is what you first don't want to do. This is Harlan Ellison, and everything in here has been used with permission. The graph, the next graph after this, and everything, so. A film about Harlan Ellison.
Get a call yesterday from a little film company down here in the valley, and they're doing the packaging for MGM on for Warner Brothers on Babylon 5, which I worked on, and I did a very long, very interesting on-camera interview about the making of Babylon 5 early on when Joe Straczynski hired me, and they want to use it. A young woman calls me and she says, "We'd like to use it on the DVD. Can that be arranged?" I said, "Absolutely. All you got to do is pay me." She said, "What?" I said, "You got to pay me." She said, "Well, everybody else is just, you know, doing it for nothing." I said, "Everybody else may be an asshole, but I'm not." I said, "By what right would you call me and ask me to work for nothing? Do you get a paycheck?" "Well, yes." I said, "Does your boss get a paycheck? Do you pay the telecine guy? Do you pay the cameraman? Do you pay the cutters? Do you pay the teamsters when they schlep your stuff on the trucks? Then how don't you pay you? How would you go to a gas station and ask me to give you free gas? Would you go to the doctor and have him take out your spleen for nothing? How dare you call me and want me to work for them? Well, it would be good publicity. I said, lady, tell that to someone a little older than you who has just fallen off the turnip truck. There is no publicity value in my essay, my interview, being on your DVD. If you sell 2,000 of them, it'll be great. And what are people going to say? Ooh, I really like the way that guy gave that interview. I wonder if he's ever written a book. Let me go and buy them. There's no publicity value. The only value for me is if you put money in my hand. Cross my palm with silver. You can use my essay. You can use my interview. And she says, well, all right, thank you. And she hangs up. I'll never hear from them. They want everything for nothing. They wouldn't go for 5 seconds without being paid. And they'll bitch about how much they're paid and want more. I should do a freebie for Warner Brothers? What is Warner Brothers out with, with an eye patch and a tin cup on the street? No. They always want the writer to work for nothing. And the problem is that there's a goddamn many writers who have no idea that they're supposed to be paid every time they do something. They do it for nothing. Good, they're going to look at me, I'm going to be noticed. Right. You tell me, are they any less the media whore than I? I think not. They just haven't, nobody's offered to buy their soul. I sell my soul, but at the highest rates. The highest rates. I don't take a piss without getting paid for it. I get so angry about this because you're undercut by all the amateurs. It's the amateurs who make it tough for the professionals. Because when you act professional, these people are so used to getting it for nothing, and for mooching, and for being able to pass off as and they don't even send you a copy of the DVD. You have to call them and say, where's the DVD? Well, it's been up. Say, well, you could go to the store and buy it. You could go to the store. You go to the store and buy it. You send me the goddamn DVD now, or I'm going to come down to your house, and I'm going to burn it to the ground. How about that? Well, you don't have to get mean about it. Yeah, I do have to get mean about it. 6 months since the damn thing came out.
Does that sound familiar? That's the state of our industry. And many of us saw it coming with digital photography, that the advent of having to have a lot more skill to shoot film, to focus cameras. Yes, I started before you even had autofocus. So having to focus a camera, having to expose correctly, having to light film, not having Photoshop to fix it in. We saw this coming. But what's happening now, or the people who are giving it away, are undermining the industry. So the first rule of negotiation is pretty much don't give it away for free, right? I love this chart. It's a woman, we did get this by permission, I can't see it on my screen. It is a woman called Jessica Hirsch, and it's the chart of should I work for free? And at the bottom, the only place it says yes, it says, is it for your mom? The answer is yes. 22 hours of labor, and you can't do one goddamn thing for her. You can't shoot one goddamn garage sale flyer. So this is very funny, and pretty much the only reason you're not going to take a fee is if it builds an incredible portfolio piece. You can sell the picture and syndicate it and sell it, and it's going to be money, right? But I'm talking about guarantees, like real guarantees. Like I'm going to do a huge shoot with the hottest actress, and I've already got people lined up to buy it. That's what I'm talking about, money, not some far-fetched thing that you get to shoot some D-level actor and hope to sell them later. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really concrete reasons. But for the most part, you're creating work to help somebody's business. There needs to be compensation for this. And there's 2 levels and 2 parts of negotiation when it comes to negotiating. The first thing is who licenses their work? Only 4 people in the room license their work? How do you guys do it? Day rates? I've been, as a commercial photographer for years, this notion of a day rate is out of the question to me. As a commercial photographer, there should be no day rate. You should be charging a licensing fee. And I'm going to show you some sample invoices in a second. You should be charging a licensing fee, and I lump up the creative fee with the usage in the invoice. I'm going to show you a couple of them. When it comes to doing paperwork, though, we all try to work with contracts and estimates and things like that. When it comes to dealing with paperwork, there's two issues here. As you can see, those are these Venn diagrams, and I created this one. The client wants all the usage rights. Wouldn't the client want all the usage rights, right? They want exclusivity, and they want you to be cost effective. You want to make money, shoot what you like, and do what's saleable afterwards. You should anyway. And where this comes together is the secret. Where you bring it together is in the success and figuring out what to charge and the licensing, right? If it's something you hate, but they're paying you a lot of money, that's okay, right? I'll shoot kids and dogs for a lot of money. I hate kids and dogs. I like my own kids, but I'll shoot kids and dogs for a lot of money. All right? Oh no, it's here. If it's really saleable, I might not need a lot of money. Right? If I've got 3 people, and I've had magazine assignments like this, where I've had 3 people backed up right afterwards to buy it. So this is the balance, and this is what you have to keep in mind. And there's 2 issues. And also, this isn't a go out and like assassinate your client. Why don't you want to assassinate your client?
Second job, third job.
Second job. You want everyone to walk away happy. Negotiating your license has to be a win-win. You want everyone to understand. First words the client says are, "We want all rights." We want all rights. And I say, well, I don't do that. What do you need all rights for? I'm shooting talent. You only have a 1-year contract with the talent. If the talent gets paid on the 2nd year, why shouldn't I? Ooh. So you got to get into the psychology and the perspective, right? This is a little more than a 45-minute talk, as you can see. But you got to get into the psychology of the perspective. I figure out the perspective before I go into the negotiation. And I'm also lucky enough to have 2 agents that I bounce this stuff off of, right? But I want to be able to figure out why, when everyone is asking for all rights, why it's not appropriate. And then if they say, we want all rights, I have another tack too. But you want this to be a win-win, so the client comes back for more. And there's 2 sides to licensing. Colin, I'm going to go late. I'm telling you now. There's usage and exclusivity, right? And usage is what we all think about, and we usually stop there. What is the client going to do with it? Why is the client going to use it? What is it going to be used for? Is it being used one time in a magazine locally? Is it being used one time as a cover nationally? Is it being used as an ad campaign worldwide? Is it being used as a coaster for a local bar? We license because we charge appropriately. We license because we want to make the fees that people pay commensurate with the economic gain they get from it. Everyone should be licensing. If Pepsi or Pizza Hut has a $3 million ad buy for those pizzas, they shouldn't be charging me. They shouldn't be asking me to work for $500 a day. Right? Commensurate usage. These are some of my invoices. They're old invoices. It's okay. This company's out of business. This is an editorial thing. I charge them for a prep day and a $1,500 shoot day. I separate it. Why do you not break your day rate out from your usage? Who knows that? And this is those of you who license. Why would you, if you wanted $2,000 for the day, why wouldn't you say my day rate's $1,000 and the usage is $1,000?
Because then they come back and say, oh, we didn't use them, so we don't need to pay you.
That's the first reason. You have the second one, hold on. The first reason is if they don't use it, they don't want to pay it. So if it's wrapped up as a $2,000 creative fee, too bad, I shot it. What's the second reason?
We don't do
Nope. No, day rate's a day rate. I can't leave my house, set up a studio. What's the second reason?
If they use it again, they don't want to pay the day rate.
If they use it again, if they use it a second year, let's say that $2,000 is for a 1-year usage. When you go to license it again, you're only going to get 1,000. I'm going to get 2. You're going to get 1,000. So a lot of people thought of breaking out the usage. I just don't do that. I've lost this notion of day rate, and I think this is very, very important, right? But everything in my invoice is broken out, and we have business manuals, and we have bidding stuff. APA has all sorts of resources for you to help you do this. But here's some sample invoices. Again, there's pre-production day, shoot days. It's all broken out. It's separated from the labor and materials. And all of my contracts and invoices have terms and conditions. These are a variation of the standard APA terms and conditions. What happens if a shoot gets postponed? What happens if a shoot, what happens if something gets canceled? What happens if, what happens if anything? So you really need these terms and conditions. And here's an example of licensing. And I admit to you, it's a better one. And I'm going to share it with you. This company doesn't advertise anymore. They're Propane Council of America. They've stopped this campaign. It's old enough where I feel like I can share it with you. All right? But I did a major advertising campaign for the Propane Council of America. Their first words to me are, they're trade ads only. We don't want to pay that much money for them. And I said, show me your list. And they showed me the list of magazines. And they weren't trade ads only. They were Architectural Digest. They're saying they're trade because they're in the architecture and home trade. But they're consumer magazines. So the first thing the client did was try to say, oh, these are genre magazines. Yeah, but they're major magazines, Architectural Digest and Southern Living, and they're big magazines. So I did this job. I shot 3 ads the first year, a red, green, and yellow ad. Actually, a blue, green, and red ad, right? So all the pertinent information is taken off, but I want you to follow this here. 3 ads. We charged 3 creative fees, right? By doing that, I got paid. It's not tremendous, a lot for many, but in the big ad world, it's about $10,000 an ad. Unlimited print use and collateral and blah, 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 blah. That's 2004. 2005, we shoot another ad, and I got paid pretty much the same thing. Why did I get paid pretty much the same thing? And once you put the price out at that point, you're stuck with it. So when you say, yeah, I'll do this one for $1,000, but I really get $5,000, they ever going to pay you the $5,000? Ever? Did the last one for $1,000. Yeah, but I told you. They don't care. The bean counters know that you did it for $1,000, and you're never going to get your rate up. That's the problem with doing favors like that. Only if it's your mother. Then we shoot another ad. Very complicated. Indoor set, rain. We built a house. We had Mr. Propane on a generator with rain coming down, special effects. I charged more because of the technical ability and that this was technically a more difficult shoot to do. But it's wrapped up into one thing called the creative fee, right? Okay. They go to use it in 2007. What do they have to do? And they only asked for the red, blue, green, and yellow ad. Now, I've shot 5 ads. They're only licensing 4. And they actually negotiated this down because it was a couple of years later. So I shot pretty much $10,000. It was about a little over $45,000 worth of ads. They had to pay for them again. Right? Next year, this is the beauty of licensing. Next year, What did they do? They added the red, blue, green, yellow ad, just the 4 ads again. What did they have to do? Pay for them again. Those of you who don't license, I don't understand why. It's sometimes a tough sell.
For smaller clients, like the ones that don't do national campaigns and have no concept of licensing, how do you kind of introduce that concept to them?
Well, it all depends on who the client is. If it's a fashion brand, you don't have to worry about it too much because once that season's gone, it's done. What are you arguing about? You know what I mean? If they're getting value forever and ever from your photograph and rerunning it, they're spending money on the ad buy. So they just spent an extra 20 grand to buy ads, 100 grand, 50 grand. Ads aren't cheap.
I'm talking about like a smaller client, like a restaurant that needs some lifestyle work done, for example.
So tell them, try to license it for 2 years. Tell them in 2 years they have to freshen it up. And then in 2 years they have to come, even if they don't use it again, they have to come back to you. I mean, it's not always easy to educate a client, right? Okay. The next year, did they have to come back to me again? They had to come back to me again. They had to pay me again. And this time they included the generator ad. I gave them another like 6 months use here, and they paid for it. Now this is the thing you're gonna love. They basically said, this campaign's over. Dan Werner, did you get in? The actor, model who he tried to get in here, he's a friend of mine, he's a photographer now. Dan, I love you, but isn't everyone a photographer now? My actor friend is turned photographer also. So Dan, they told Dan they didn't want to use him. They weren't going to do it, you know. So I said, Dan, would you let me sell them for stock? Can I take the propane off the t-shirt? He goes, absolutely. So I went back to the client and I said, fine, you don't want to license them. I'll sell them as stock. And they said, what? I said, if you're not licensing them, I own the copyright. I'm going to sell them as stock. And they said, what? I said, yeah, you're not buying exclusivity. They paid me another $22,500 to not sell them as stock. I sold them the exclusivity of the images. And I literally had to calculate whether I would have sold those particular images for that particular brand enough, or if taking this money and investing it and having it now was worth taking the money. So there's two sides to usage. The other one is exclusivity. Exclusivity is almost worthless if you don't have what?
Copyright.
Well, you have the copyright. I mean, I don't give it away. Anyone do work for hires? I don't do a work for hire. I have the copyright. I try to not give people perpetual usage or assign the copyright. But exclusivity is useless without a model release. You can't do squat with it without a model release. Do I get a model release from everyone? So here's the thing. When the client says, we don't want a license, we can't afford it, what's your other trick in your hat? Exclusivity. Exclusivity. And for the restaurant, you want to make sure you have a property release on the food. And say, fine, you have it exclusive for a year, and now but I get to sell it. If you can pay me squat, I get to sell them after a year. That compensates for you paying me squat and getting all the rights. And that's the balance. You have two tricks up your sleeve with licensing. I also have a limited model release for me to be able to use images like of celebrities for books and fine art books and postcards and self-promotional things. So. There's a lot of little details here. Oops, that slide's in the wrong place. This is the propane slide. look at the licensing fees. The licensing fees were more than the fees from the shoots themselves. That's the benefit of licensing. This is over a 10-year period, of course, 8-year period. Okay, the other side to this, and we're going to blow through this. The other side to this is you need to protect your work. Without protecting it, and you're not only protecting it for you, you're usually protecting it from your client, right? You cannot protect the license. Do you understand this concept? The license is useless if you let people steal your work. The negotiation is useless if your stuff isn't exclusive to you and your client. If you let people steal the work, you've undermined the value of the work. If I give away images, give them away. If I put images in social media, it's very calculated. It's to promote an event, and it's very specific. And I don't put a lot of images up on Instagram and places like that. APA also has a white paper about what you should know about putting images on social media. So I want to explain one last concept. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. There's a corporate strategy in America that's called risk management. Who knows what risk management is? Well, it is insurance. Who said that? Okay. She works in a risk management department. Legal departments in media companies deal with risk management. What do they say? Well, if we're going to license work, it costs so much to have those 4 employees do it. It costs X amount to track them down. We have to pay for the licenses. We have to then cut checks. We have to do the accounting. It costs so much. And they weigh that against all the idiot photographers that don't copyright register their work. Sorry to say it that way, but most of you probably don't register your work, and they're going to weigh it on getting caught. So now I just started another business for all of you. All of you. I just doubled your income. You're going to do 2 things. Tomorrow, you're going to start registering your work. I mean, here's a great instance where I shot this picture. It was the cover of Photo Design magazine, which became part of PDN. That's the cover. AOL tried to buy it, and instead they had someone copy it. Right? And I learned about copyright registration that day. Did I do it? No. It took the next infringement, the year later, of this cover of Terry Hatcher on Movie Line. This cover, then being stolen by The Sun. And in fact, the publisher of The Sun was my editor-in-chief, or the head of all Murdoch magazines, News Corp magazines, was my editor-in-chief at the Boston Herald. And we got 5 minutes, Colin? We okay? All right. Was my editor-in-chief at the Boston Herald. And I called him up. I'm like, Les Hinton, how are you? Michael, boy, how are you? Hey, Les, The Sun stole my picture. I lost a $10,000 guarantee today from FHM magazine. What's up with that, Les? He goes, I gotta go. I'll call you back. I never heard from him again. And good thing this was close enough to publication to where my lawyer said, have you ever heard of copyright registration? So now every image I take, this is my old system where I'd actually shoot images on the light box. This is the physical form. We now do this digitally. This is the electronic copyright submission form on the ECO. So look, you all shoot, right? You all get paid. Now the other half of your business, I will almost guarantee you that you will make more money if you do this right, defending your work. You will double your income. You need to register every image you shoot as an unpublished image. Okay? You need to register every image you shoot. And then what I do, we're going to go through this. I register this routinely every few weeks. This is using a template. And the type of work you can see is a work of visual art at the bottom. My titles are very simple. It's Grecco unpublished 6/26/2004 to 8/27/2014, excuse me. Has the work been published? No, I register it before it's been published. What year was it completed? 2014. The author is actually Michael Grecco Productions, Inc., because I'm an employee of my own company. I am actually a work for hire of my own company. I own the company. The claimant is Michael Grecco Productions, Inc. There's no limitation to the claim. You come to me, Michael Grecco, as the president of Michael Grecco Productions, Inc., for the rights and permissions. Any correspondence is me. You mail the certificate to me. There's no special handling, which you would have to pay for if you're going to court. I have to certify, I review, and then I store two copies on gold CD of what I submitted, 2 copies. I also print out a list of every image and image name I sent, every one. I send 1 PDF to the Copyright Office and I keep 1. All right, this is what you get back, signed by Maria Palante, the copyright registrar. And then this is the other half of it, see? Because you're working hard at negotiating this, you're working hard at getting paid, and then someone goes and steals it and uses it for their ad. And your client's pissed, and you're pissed. But your work's registered. And you know how you find it for someone else's ad? You subscribe to Image Rights. ImageRights.com, right? And Image Rights is this amazing service. I'm almost done, guys. Image Rights is this amazing service. This is my back end of Image Rights, and we've been combing Image Rights. My staff has been going through Image Rights to get out the authorized usages, like the publicity. Like I've given it to Colin to use for publicity. It's on their website, and that's okay. How many unauthorized usages are still in the system? 1,585 by 1,030 different domains by 642 different owners. It's the Wild West out there, and you guys have blinders on. You don't even know what's going on. You want to do this. Anyone who shoots and puts their stuff up and shoots for magazines and anyone who has the potential of having their images stolen, you want to do this. Because now, not only does this support your client by protecting their exclusive period, it generates revenue for you and helps support you. So this is the second part of the licensing model, is protecting the value of your work, right? Okay, it is 1:15. Question times. Got 5 minutes. Colin's gonna let us go 5 minutes over. I'm putting you right on the spot, I know, and I've been bad today. Go ahead.
What's the definition of published?
What's the definition of published? It being published in a magazine. It has to be used. No, unless you're selling it as stock. If you're selling it as stock, then it's a commercial usage. But I'm not an attorney, and I always advise ask your attorney. Go ahead.
Since there's so many online magazines right now, obviously there's a budget issue going on with saying.
Yeah, because they want to do it for free.
Right. So say you do shoot a celebrity for a magazine, they have their embargo period, and then another online magazine hits you up. Have you been in that position where?
Here are the 2 things I warn you about. An online magazine, shooting a celebrity. Don't let the publicist make you sign an agreement that the image will only be used for that online magazine. Because then doing a free job where you have 5 minutes and you're not going to get a good picture to begin with is worthless to you. Unless it's the cover or something big. So I'd worry about the publicist agreement that they'd send to you. But if another magazine uses it and it's an infringement, I would take them to task. Go ahead.
When you find these 1,500 people that are infringing on your copyright, do you just send a cease and desist?
No. Image Rights actually has a team of lawyers around the world except for Asia. I actually sneak the good ones off to my attorney, the attorney I like. Shh, don't say I did. I told you that. I sneak the good ones off to my favorite attorney who kicks butt, and then I shove the rest down to Image Rights, and they have a team of people around the world to negotiate and collect for you. Go ahead.
Would you say that the collapse of the stock market, the stock sales market, is still a viable option to resell it?
Stock, here's the interesting thing. That's a great question. That's a really intelligent question. Getty and Corbis And all the stock agencies, including Superstock and everyone else, have run stock pricing through the floor. They are working on volume and we're getting paid nothing. I have left all my stock agents. I just got screwed by Superstock, who was hiding licensing fees that they were getting in England. It was, I know, I see you there. I just got screwed by Superstock. They were hiding licensing fees. I found a Johnny Cash album cover in Walmart. We asked them if they licensed it. They said no, and then they go, oh, we forgot to pay you for that. Oh, really? So wait. So here, I'm with Deutsche Picture Agency. I get $4 sales in Germany. I had German Rolling Stone call me up, $1,350 for a cover of Johnny Cash. I had another business magazine called me up, and I got $4,000 for 3 images and a cover of a business magazine of the Google guys. I wrote Deutsche Picture Agency and said, I'm selling my own stuff, take it down. You cannot keep giving away my pictures. Go screw yourself, essentially. Sell it yourself. Put it on Photo Shelter. Sell it yourself. One more.
Your property releases, do you get it from the tenant or from the building owner?
I'd rather get the property release from the building owner if you could, but one more. That was a, all right, I'm killing him over there. Look, he's dying. I'm killing him. All right, we're good. Thank you, guys.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
This event was sponsored by APA. I've been a member of APA for over 20 years, and I've been on the board for several years. We fight for your rights in Washington and around the world, and I urge you to join us so that your voice can be heard and you can help us make a better photo community.